Welcome to another edition of The Grind, where we are grinding out, doing the work that's necessary to become the best version of ourselves, the people that God created us to be. There are a few things in life that are absolutely tragic. They happen, and tragedy surrounds us. There are a few things in life that are mysteriously strange. We have no explanation for. And there are a few things in life that are just plain funny. Now, maybe I'm odd or something, but I discover that very few days pass in which I fail to see or hear or read something that makes me smile. I just like to laugh. I think humor is one of the healthiest sounds of a good church. I think humor and the ability to laugh is a healthy sound for a follower of God. And so I'm grateful that God dispenses that divine medication so frequently. Kind of takes the sting out of life a little bit. And a smile or a laugh or a quick joke or just that pleasant moment that reminds you that as bad as things are, it can be okay. You find yourself lightening the load. Rules and regulations and statutes are not meant to be amusing, but sometimes they are. And sometimes they're almost hilarious. In San Francisco, for example, and everything's funny in San Francisco, isn't it? An ordinance forbids the reuse of confetti. Why would you even try? What would you do to get that law in the books? But again, it's San Francisco. In Danville, Pennsylvania, fire hydrants must be checked 1 hour before all fires. How do you know? How do you know? In Seattle, it's illegal to carry a concealed weapon of more than 6 feet in length. Think about that for just a minute. Got it? Yeah. An Oklahoma law states that the driver of any vehicle involved in an accident resulting in death shall immediately stop and give his name and address to the person struck. But they're dead. Go figure. A piece of noise abatement legislation was passed in the village of Lakefield, Ontario, which permits birds to sing for 30 minutes during the day and 15 minutes at night only. How can you restrict when a bird is going to sing? Religious stuff also does bring about a few laughs. I freely admit I find some church architecture funny. I find it a lot funny. The same could be said for the business side of things. I occasionally bite my lip when I'm in an ultra somber meeting and begin to look at the faces in the room. Some of them and the remarks being made are just downright hilarious, and it's everything I can do to throttle back a laugh. Furthermore, being a preacher, I recognize the art of preaching can be a funny thing, and preachers can be a funny lot, sometimes on purpose, and sometimes when they don't intend to be. But they do make me smile sometimes. And I often chuckle because I have met through the years some wild and crazy characters. And those wild and crazy characters tend to have a much more effective ministry, to be honest with you. But such humor, you must understand, is not about making jokes out of life. It's recognizing the ones that are already there. Big difference in that. Life isn't a joke, but there's always humor to be found in the midst of the grind. See, we don't just have to go about read the comics and go find funny things to do or share a meme or whatever it is that you think is humorous or funny and just go out of your way to be a comic or a comedian. That's not the case. But what you do need to do is learn to look back toward God, the God of infinite creation, our ultimate creator, and discover the joy in finding and discovering the things that He has created that bring meaning and joy to life. I love the insightful words of Elton Trueblood. He says this: a Christian is joyful, not because he's blind to injustice and suffering, but because he's convinced that these, in the light of the divine sovereignty, are never ultimate. The humor of the Christian is not a way of denying tears, but rather a way of affirming that there is something that is deeper than the tears. I like that a lot. Because it reminds me that there is a joy that comes beyond those sad moments, those tearful moments, those moments where some people become so obsessed over the sad things that they never find the joy again. There are a few things in life, and I said this earlier, that are tragic. But one of the most tragic things of all is a Christian who doesn't have joy. One of my mentors and dear friends, Ken Smith, once said it ought to be joy. And begin to proceed to why ministry should be a joy. It should be joy to follow the Savior. And I agree with that. A truly cheerful face comes from a joyful heart. And so while you're doing the things that you need to do, and you're embracing the grind, ask God to give you a joyful heart. And let that joyful heart show on your face. And learn to look for those things that will make you smile. They're there if you take the time to look. I'll join you next time as we continue together to embrace the grind.